For this week's discussion, we're going to take a look at two documents that I use in my classes and evaluate them for their accessibility. The first one we're going to look at is some food label information that I actually used for Module 5's lesson. And when I started to look at it, I realized that it wasn't as accessible as I had thought. So when we look at it in outline view, very little of the information is showing up in that view. So that would not be very good for a screen reader. The slide layout is pretty good. It's very fluid. The reading order would work well with a screen reader. However, alternative text was not provided, but I did learn how to add it, and I went back through and added it to some of the slides. But these food labels are the only ones that I had listed. So if that is an image and I had to go back through and explain what is on it, that would be pretty time-consuming. All of the lists that are provided are formatted using bullets. There are no tables provided in this PowerPoint, but that would be a really important consideration if I were to change this picture of a food label into a table. That would need to be formatted correctly in order to be read by a screen reader. The color and contrast used, I thought it was pretty good. Most of the slides are white with black lettering. However, some of the colors in the food label might be difficult for people to see. There's no math and science written out. Instead, it was provided by student feedback in the lesson that I conducted. But if I wanted to provide the mathematical calculations for these slides at the end, I would need to be careful how I did that in order for it to be read by a screen reader. And there were no video or audio captions provided in this slide. When looking at the Universal Design for Learning guidelines, I thought that this slide presentation met 7.2, optimize relevance, value, and authenticity, because it's showing something that's very relevant to daily life. 7.3, minimize distractions. I thought if you use something like Apple Classroom, this would be especially beneficial. 8.3, foster collaboration and community. These slides alone do not do that, but if taught in a brick and mortar classroom or in an online environment, it could certainly facilitate community as students teach each other how to calculate the calories. I also thought it covered optimizing motivation, facilitating personal coping skills, clarifying vocabulary, because vocabulary is explained throughout the slides, and activate or supply background knowledge. When we take a look at the textbook, I thought it hit Principle 1, highlight key elements in text, scaffold learning, and chunk information into smaller pieces. It hit Principle 2 by using guides to provide support. And Principle 3, personalized learning to students' lives, provides authentic and purposeful outcomes and encourages active participation. And again, part of these would depend on how the lesson was taught. My second document is a Google Doc that I use as a prenatal nutrition web quest, and this is to help students get a better idea of what prenatal nutrition needs are. This is another activity that I thought was a lot better than it is once I started evaluating the accessibility. So when looking at the online accessibility handbook for headings, In my document, there's no difference in size, and they are not properly formatted or in the correct order. Images, there are no images in this document. Lists, it is formatted with numbers for all lists. Links are not described with a destination, only the link was provided. This would be an easy fix, but it would be difficult for a screen reader. Math and science are not included in this worksheet. There are no tables included. Color. Only black, white, and blue are used. I used white for the background with black lettering and blue links. However, using the blue lettering is the only thing that sets the links apart. So underlining and providing the description would make the links more accessible. There are no forms used in this website, in this web quest. UDL. I thought it covered 7.2. It optimizes relevance, value, and authenticity. 7.3 minimizes distractions because it's helping to guide students and show them exactly where to go. 9.1 optimizes motivation. It's a very relevant web quest, something that most people will encounter at some point in their life. 9.2 it facilitates personal coping skills. 2.1 clarifies vocabulary. 3.1 it activates and supplies some background knowledge. Students go over basic prenatal nutrition needs, and then they go into the specifics in this web quest. 3.3 it guides in information processing, and 6.3 facilitates managing information and resources. As far as the textbook goes, it covers Principle 1. It highlights key elements in the text, scaffolds learning, and chunks information into smaller pieces, provides multiple entry points through content. Principle 2, it uses guides to provide support, and Principle 3, it personalizes learning to students' lives, provides authentic and purposeful outcomes, and encourages active participation. For the most part, it would only take a few simple changes to make these documents much more accessible.